Jin Ping Mei Original Version Chapter 84. Wu Yunyang made a big fuss in Bixia Palace, and Master Zheng Jing took refuge in the Zujian cave. One day after the conversation, Wu Yunyang invited Uncle Wu to come and discuss the matter. She wanted to go to the top of Tai'an Prefecture to offer incense to her, because Ximeng King had made a wish when he was seriously ill. Uncle Wu said, "Since you are going, I must go with you." While preparing incense, candles, paper horses and sacrifices, Dian and Lion followed them and hired 3 heads. Yunyang took a warm sedan and distributed them to Meng Yulu, Pan Jinlian, Sun Zui and Sister Ximeng. Hao Sheng looks after the house. My wife, Ryer. And all the girls are happy to see Brother Xiao. The gate behind you was closed early because there was nothing going on, so don't go out. He also told Chen Jingji, don't go there. I'll take care of the door with Mr. Fu. I'll be home at the end of the month. On the morning of the 15th, I burned paper and sent letters, said goodbye to Ximeng Kingling in the evening, bought wine with all the sisters to say goodbye, and handed over the door and the keys to each storehouse to Xiao Yu. The next morning, they got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, left the house, and ran towards the main road. In the deep autumn, the weather is cold and the days are short, so we can travel 60 or 70 miles a day. Before dusk, we rested in a village house in Taokadian before heading out again the next day. Along the way, the autumn clouds were pale, the wild geese were cold, the trees were withered, and the scenery was desolate, which was very sad. Stop talking nonsense. I was speechless all the way, and after walking for several days, I arrived at Tai'an Prefecture and saw Mount Tai. It was the most famous mountain in the world, with its roots crisscrossing the ground and its top touching the center of the sky. It lives in the state of Kilu and has the appearance of a rock. When Uncle Wu saw that it was getting late, he stayed in an inn to spend the night, get up early the next day, and go up the mountain to see Daiyu Temple. The Daiyuku is located in front of the mountain. It is the most beautiful temple in the world. But see, the temple is located in Daiyu Mountain. The mountain controls the world, is the respect of the mountain, and is the leader of all blessings. Leaning on the sill on the top of the mountain, you can look straight at the weak water and Ping Lai. Climbing the pines at the top, you can see thick clouds and mist. The towers are towering, and the golden crows spread their wings to fly. The jade rabbits leap up to the edges of the palace. There are carved beams and painted pillars, green tiles and red eaves, bright phoenix feathers reflecting yellow gauze, and turtleback embroidered curtains hanging with brocade ribbons. Looking at the holy statue from a distance, you can see the 9 hunters and Shen Eyes and Yao Mei. Looking at the divine face from a closer look, you can see the dragon robe on the shoulder and Yu's back. The royal incense continues, and the god's flying horse delivers the elixir book. When the time comes for sacrifices, young and old look to the wind to pray for blessings. There are auspicious clouds and fragrant mist in Jianing Hole, and auspicious air hovers in Zhengyang Gate. It's exactly this. All the people worship Bixia Palace, and the whole world takes refuge in the Holy Emperor. Uncle Wu led Yunyang to Daiyu Temple. Incense was burned in the main hall, and the holy statues were worshipped. The Taoist priests of the temple read out documents. Then both carters burned paper money and ate some fast food. Then lead Yunyang to the top, climb the 49 trays, climb vines, and hold vines up. The Queen's Golden Palace is deep in the clouds and smoke in midair, about 40 or 50 miles away. And the wind, clouds, thunder and rain can all look down to watch. Yunyang and others got up from Daiyu Temple at Shenpai time, climbed to the top of the plate, and arrived at the Shen time. On the Empress's Golden Palace is a vermilion tablet with the 3 words Bixia Palace written in gold. Enter the palace and pay homage to the golden body of the Empress. How does it look like? But see, the head is tied with 9 dragons and flying phoenixes in a bun. And he is wearing a crimson gauze dress with gold threads. Lanshan jade belt trailing long train. White jade guizhong respecting wood colorful sleeves. The face is like a lotus calyx, and the natural eyebrows reflect the clouds of a servant girl. The lips are like gold and vermilion, and the body is free of snow. It's like the Queen Mother banqueting in Yaoqi, but it's like Chang'e leaving the Moon Palace. It is impossible to describe the majestic fairy clouds, and it is difficult to paint a majestic image. The moon goddess paid homage to the goddess, and there was a congratulatory Taoist priest standing beside the incense table. He was about 40 years old, with a short stature, a triple mustache, bright eyes and clipped teeth. He went forward and read the vows for Yunyang. Burned incense in the golden burned paper horses, gold and silver, and ordered the children to collect the sacrifices. It turns out that the Taoist priest in this temple is not a person who keeps his duty. He is the eldest disciple of Abbot Jin from the Dayu temple in front of him. His surname is Shi and his twin names are Bokai. He is extremely greedy for money and lust, and he is always trying to get things done. There was a Yin Taisui in this place, whose surname was Yin and whose twin names were Changshi. He was the brother-in-law of Gao Lian, the magistrate of this state. He often led many people who were not doing their job, or held bows and bullets, or led eagles and dogs, in the upper and lower palaces. Looking intently at the women burning incense in all directions, no one dared to offend him. This Taoist priest, Shi Bokai, was dedicated to concealing treachery and deceit, making money for him and luring women to the abbot, where they could commit adultery as he pleased. Seeing that Yunyang's appearance was extraordinary, and she was wearing a filial crown, if she was not a lady from an official family, she must be a daughter-in-law of a wealthy family. There was also a pale and bearded old man following her, so the two boys couldn't help but bow their heads forward to thank the gods. Please give the two donors, abbot, a cup of tea. Uncle Wu said, "You will have to go down the mountain if you don't work hard." Bokai said, "It's still early to go down the mountain. After a while, please come to the abbot." The inside is covered with snow-white paste. In front of it is a sesame flower sitting bed, a willow yellow brocade tent. And on the incense table there is a picture of Dongbin performing a white peony. There is a couplet on the left and right, and a big book reads, "To sleeves dance in the breeze." Crane, a bright moon, talking about scriptures. Bokai asked Uncle Wu's surname, and he said, "My surname is Wu, and this is my sister-in-law Wu. Because my husband is here to fulfill his wish, he should not disturb the palace." Bokai said, "Since we are the bridesmaids, please sit down together." He then took the main seat and asked his apprentice to watch tea. It turned out that he had two disciples, one named Guer Shuking and the other named Guer Shuli. They were both 16 years old and handsome. They wore Qingduan Taoist buns on their heads, green silk Taoist robes, sandals and socks on their feet, and their whole bodies were fragrant. When guests arrive, tea and water are served, and wine and food are served. In the evening, he would be used to satisfy his cravings behind his back. After a while, the table was set up by Shuking and etiquette, and the meal was served. It was all delicious sweets, steamed pancakes, various vegetables, and the spring terrace was filled. Everyone was given sweet water and good tea, and after drinking the tea, they collected the fire at home. Just put the wine on the table, large plates and bowls of delicacies were served, including chicken, goose, fish and duck. The lamp is inlaid with amber and filled with golden waves. When Wu Yunyang saw the wine coming, she got up, called Diane to come forward, held out a big piece of cloth and 2 ounces of white gold on a red lacquer tray, and made a thank you gift to Taoist Shi. Uncle Wu then said, "I shouldn't bother you when I go to the palace. I'm thanking the immortal for these small gifts. I'll give you food and wine without bothering. It's getting late, and now I have to rush down the mountain." The panicked Uncle Shi thanked him profusely and said, "I am not talented, but my Empress, Fuan, is the abbot of the Bixia Palace in this mountain. I rely on money and food from all over the world. I don't care how I use it for the rich people from all over the world. Now I'm going to prepare a rough meal and a light meal." On the contrary, he gave generous gifts to others, which made Xiao Dao feel disrespectful and unworthy of receiving them. After thanking him repeatedly, he ordered his apprentice to accept it. On one side, Yunyang and Uncle Wu were sitting. "At least, while we are sitting there, I will drink 3 cups, just to be a little less affectionate." Seeing Quan Liu's sincerity, Uncle Wu had no choice but to sit down with Yunyang. After a while, the hot meal was served. Taoist Shi told his disciples, "If you don't like this wine, I will open the jar of fragrant lotus wine given by Master Zhu yesterday for you, Father Wu." After a while, the apprentice used another hot pot to sift hot wine and bring it up. He poured a full cup first and handed it to Yunyang with both hands, but Yunyang refused to take it. Uncle Wu said, "My sister-in-law doesn't need alcohol by nature." Bokai said, "Old lady, it's been a rough journey. What's the harm in using it? At least use it lightly." After pouring it for half an hour, he handed it over to Yunyang and took it. He poured another cup and handed it to Uncle Wu and said, "Dad Wu, please try this wine. How does it taste?" Uncle Wu took a sip and found it fragrant and sweet, with a deep and long taste. He said, "This wine is very good," Bokai said. "To be honest with you, old man, this is the wine sent to Xiaodao by the father of Su Zhifu in Qingzhou. His old wife, young lady, and young master come to Daiyu Temple to burn incense and build a memorial ceremony every year. And they have a close relationship with Xiaodao. His Miss, I send my name to my Empress, seeing that Xiaodao has a calm mind, is diligent and sincere. She respects Xiaodao very much. All year round, half of the money and food from the upper and lower palaces of Daiyu Temple are collected and put into the treasury. In recent years, thanks to my benefactor, Mr. Zhu Zhifu, my father has mentioned it, but there is no tax collection. All of it is used for permanent residence, to serve the Empress, and to receive pilgrims from all over the world." Talking here, Dan and Lion are downstairs, following the sedan bearers. They have their own places to sit downstairs. They have soup, rice, snacks, and large bowls of wine and meat. They are all full. Uncle Wu drank a few drinks and was about to get up when it was getting late. Bokai said, "The sun is setting, and it's too late to go down the mountain. If you don't give up, I'll spend the night in the abbot's right on the trail and go down the mountain more leisurely tomorrow morning." Uncle Wu said, "Zheng Nai has some small luggage in the store. I'm afraid it might be lost in time." Bokai smiled and said, "Why worry about this? There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. I heard that people who sell incense here are not limited to villages and shops. I am afraid of the news. How about bringing the shopkeeper to the state and beating him up and teaching him to find the whereabouts of the thieves?" Uncle Wu sat still after hearing this. Bokai took the big clock and poured wine. Uncle Wu saw the effects of drinking, so he got drunk and changed his clothes, then went to the back pavilion to watch and rejoice. This month, Yunyang felt tired and sleepy, so she leaned on the bed. She closed the door and went outside. Yunyang was leaning on the bed when she suddenly heard a loud sound from inside. A person jumped out from the paper door behind the bed. He had a light red face and a three-willow mustache. He was about 30 years old, wearing a green scarf on his head and a purple brocade hakama shirt. He hugged Yunyang with both hands and said, "Yin Xiangxi, the young man, is the brother-in-law of Gao Prefecture. I have heard for a long time that my wife is the wife of an official and a mansion. She is naturally beautiful and longing for her. Now that I have accepted Ying Biao, I will be lucky for the rest of my life. If I see pity, it will never be forgotten until life and death." While pressing Yunyang on the bed, she begged for sex. Yunyang was so frightened that she shouted loudly, "The world is peaceful, the world is bright. What are you doing to stop your husband and wife from getting married here?" She was about to rush out the door and leave, being pushed to death by Tianxi and refusing to let him go. He knelt down and said, "My lady, please be silent. I'm looking down on Zhao Sheng and begging for mercy." The Yunyang screamed louder and louder, shouting, "Help!" Ping and Dian heard the Yunyang's voice and hurried to the pavilion behind them, calling to their uncle, "Uncle, go quickly. My mother is talking to the abbot." Uncle Wu hurriedly ran to the abbot and pushed the door open. I saw Yunyang shouting, "King Ping World, what are you doing here to stop the women from burning incense?" Uncle Wu shouted, "Sister, don't panic. I'm coming," while breaking the door open with a stone. When Yin Xiangxi saw someone coming, he put aside his hand, hit the bed behind him and walked away in a hurry. It turns out that there is a way out behind the stone Taoist bed. Uncle Wu broke open the abbot's door. Asked Yunyang, "Sister, has that guy ever defiled you?" Yunyang said, "Never." That guy hit the bed behind and laughed. Uncle Wu was looking for a Taoist priest, but the Taoist priest hid aside and only taught his disciples to help him. The uncle was furious and ordered his men to follow Dan and Lai Anner and smash the windows and walls of the Taoist gate. As Bo Yunyang left Bixia Palace, got on the sedan chair and hurried down the mountain. I got up round dusk and walked for half the night before arriving at the inn at the foot of the mountain. So, the waiter said. The waiter kept complaining and said, the disagreement has offended Yin Tae-sui. He is the brother-in-law of the magistrate of this state and is famous as Yin Tae-sui. Then you go. If I open a shop, I will be humiliated by him. How can I give up, Uncle Wu? So I gave him a few extra bucks, took my luggage, packed Yunyang's sedan chair, and hurried off. Behind him, Yin Qiangshi was so angry that he led 20 or 30 idle men, each armed with waist knives and short sticks, and rushed down the mountain. Uncle Wu and his party made 2 trips and 1 trip, and arrived at a valley around the 4th watch. There was a light among the trees in the distance, but when I walked closer, I saw a stone cave, inside which there was an old monk holding a candle and chanting sutras. Uncle Wu asked, "Teacher, I was burning incense on the top of the mountain. We were chased by strong men and ran down the mountain. It was dark and we lost our way here. May I ask, teacher, what is the name of this place? Which road can we take back to King County? Go." The old monk said, "This is the east peak of Dayu. And the name of this cave is Zujin Cave. The poor monk is called Zen Master Zudong, and his Dharma name is Pujing. He has practiced here for 20 or 30 years. It is really destined that you meet me now. Don't go forward. There are many wolves, tigers and leopards at the foot of the mountain. Let's go early tomorrow, and the straight road will lead you to King County." Uncle Wu said, "I'm just afraid someone will chase me." The teacher took a look and said, "It's okay, the strong man has gone back halfway up the mountain." Because I asked Yunyang for her surname, Uncle Wu said, "This is my sister, Simon King's wife. Because of my husband, I came here to offer incense. I was rescued by my teacher. I will repay my kindness and I dare not forget it." So I rested in the cave for the night. The next day, before dawn, Yunyang took out a big piece of cloth to thank the teacher. The teacher didn't accept it and said, "I have only given birth to one of your own sons as my apprentice." "What do you think?" Uncle Wu said, "My sister has given birth to only one son in the hope of inheriting the family business. If there is any extra, I will make arrangements with the teacher, apprentice." Yunyang said, "My child is still young. He is less than 1 year old today. How can he get it?" The teacher said, "You just promise. I won't ask you for it now, but I will ask you for it in 15 years. Yunyang didn't say anything. She would think about it again after 15 years, and then made a vague promise to be a teacher. While working as a speech teacher, he came to the main road of King County. It's exactly this, only people's hearts are evil in the world, and all things teach God to nurture people. But there is no evil on the other side, and one can stand among the wolves and tigers."
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.